Can you hear me? You can hear me? Well, I can't hear you. There, but my sound might be off, so my sound's on. Well, let me make sure this.
Now, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Sweet. Hey guys, sorry about that. A little bit late and hectic to start because obviously I forgot what time it was. Chris Peshek, Purple Springs Home Team at Peshek Properties, and my buddy Steve Babcock, mortgage loan originator at CMG Financial. It always takes me a little bit just because that's it's a little tough for me to remember all the things. But anyway, it is 5 o'clock. It is Monday, and so we are together for our after hours real estate where we drink a little bit. We're gonna have to talk about that, and we talk about mortgages. We talk about real estate. We talk about economics. All the things that are driving mortgages and real estate. And yeah, so my friend, what are you drinking
today, sir? Straight from Traverse City, Michigan. And of course, how do I do this? How do I get this to go backwards so people can see it? Hold on. Isn't there a way to mirror? I guess I am mirroring.
No, I can see it perfectly. Yeah.
No, doesn't matter. Oh, mirror it for me. So you can see it. Okay, good. Great.
Yeah,
so when I go this way, it actually goes this way on my screen. But yeah, Traverse City. It's a cherry. Michigan's pretty famous for their cherries. And it's a cherry whiskey that I've been pairing with Dr. Pepper. Compliments of my good friend Jeff, who lives up the street from me. Jeff Fiend.
Okay.
He introduced me to this, and it's delicious. It's delicious.
My friend, are you really taking a good whiskey and mixing it with Dr. Pepper?
I'll tell you, because it's a cherry whiskey, it feels like it's designed for it. Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm going with it's good.
Is it good straight? That's my question.
I have had it straight. It is good straight. It is,
but it's better with Dr. Pepper.
Imperceptible with the Dr. Pepper. It's dangerous.
Well, that's trouble. This
is just dangerous. Yeah.
And you mentioned those cherries, and I'm going to go off on a little bit of a rant because it's our show. This is just us drinking and talking.
There's nobody else here. Just us
the breweries. Oh, there's some people here. Hi, people.
I know it's just us.
And oh, by the way, if y'all would like to chime in and tell Jeff that he's doing it wrong, Stephen.
You can tell Jeff he's doing it wrong. Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, tell Jeff. Don't tell Stephen.
That's fine. Don't say about me.
Anyway, Greg Plummer, who's the owner and brewer at Suds Monkey Brewing, he gets, I think it's that same those Michigan cherries because he grew up in that area. I think actually he grew up in Detroit. He brings those cherries in for one of his stouts that he brews in the winter. And wow, they're good. So
nice.
Yeah. I know two people now that know something about those cherries.
I'll tell you, brother, that is. We should have one of these soon, like in real life. Could be fun.
We should. So
what's going
myself
on with you,
on
man?
the other hand?
Yeah, what are you drinking?
It is a little brewery called Toppling Goliath in Iowa. Yes, I know Iowa, but they make phenomenal IPAs. And this is one that my wife saw that I had to grab. It is a double IPA called Dino Park. Citra, Strata, hops, Galaxy hops. All good.
Get it, brother.
So,
cheers.
Here you go, friend. Cheers.
In case anyone's wondering, this started during the pandemic and we've just kept it going.
Oh yeah, that's right. Some people do want to know where all of this started. So what? Oh man, what about today?
What about today, sir?
We'll start where we always do. Interest rates. Are they trending up?
Online right now?
Trending down?
6.6 for an 800 score and 8.3 for a 620 score, according to Google.
Fairly stable.
Somewhere between
from where we were last week.
6.6 to 8.3. Again, that doesn't include paying anything for the rate. You can always pay a little bit of money to get a better rate. So what I just said is actually probably totally full of it because your numbers are going to be somewhere in between there, and then you're going to pay some money to be outside of that range. So when you actually look online, it doesn't really help you very much. It does give you a gauge, but typically the one you look at is way lower than the one I'm looking at. Right. Just a teaser rate to get you in there. But exactly. But yeah, man, I'll tell you, I don't even want to talk about rates, to be honest with you, because they're so volatile right now. And the thing that's
I'm just
volatile
trying to
is
give people an idea on where we're
I'm going to.
trending.
Yeah, I'm going to. So the
Yeah.
thing that's volatile is the banking sector, really, and the Fed's just absolutely throwing a wrench in our machine that is, the United States economy. And those two, the banking sector and the Fed's push here, are really, 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 in fact, they're pretty much the same thing when you think about it. These failures they're having.
Yeah.
Um, they're really good for rates. So,
Yep.
if you're worried about rates, this is the point when they start getting better. Now, that being said, if inflation doesn't get taken under control, we could just be in for a wild ride. But for the most part,
Yeah.
right now, rates aren't supposed to swing 0.125 or 0.25 in percent in
Every
rate
week.
per day.
Or
Or
per
every week.
day.
It's supposed to hold somewhat steady and move slowly. It's a really slow giant monster, right? Well, recently it's been a roller coaster, and so but things are getting better. They are getting better, especially if the things in the economy here hold. I don't know how much better they're going to be able to get in the short term. I would still advising everyone that comes to me right now to lock in almost immediately, as soon as you can.
Yeah.
But
Because you do have that great float product.
well, they've gotten so much better, right? When they get better, everyone thinks, let's just wait a little longer. No, hedge your bets, right? Furthermore, you go with somebody like me at CMG, and we've got a float down product. So if it does get better, we can float you down to the better rate.
And I'm gonna. So
numbers are.
did you? And I want to get off kind of on the same train of thought. Did you get a chance to read any of the
Whole thing
articles that I sent?
Yeah, I put it on the read it to me on the phone. Chris sent me an article today, and he's like, "This might take you a bit to read." So I'm like, you know what? I've got some things to do, busy work, so I'll just have my phone read it to me. So read it to me. 30 minutes and some change is how long the article was. It's rare an article is that long, but I listened to it. Yeah.
Man, it was so, and I'll kind of give people, the guy that wrote the article was the founder of Trulia, who then got bought by Zillow, and he was kind of breaking up into how he's seen two quantum leaps in real estate. One was what the companies like Trulia and Zillow did, which kind of put information online for people to access. Because if you bought a house before Trulia, I think was started in 2015. Or maybe it's something like that, maybe a little bit earlier. But if you bought a house before that, like when my wife and I bought our first house, the information wasn't on the internet. Like you could see, that there were houses for sale, but you didn't have access to the information that Trulia and Zillow and Realtor.com and all the rest of them now do. So that was kind of the first quantum leap is one that he started. And then the second one was a little bit more of the iBuyer shift, where Trulia, Realtor, Redfin, and all of those had started buying houses, and essentially trying to take realtors and lenders out of it, basically being a one-stop shop for individuals. And then he's getting into the third quantum leap that he sees happening now, which is just it's being caused by the increase in prices and interest rates, and with people that may want to buy a house but really can't. One of the things. Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, go.
I was just going to say that the thing that stuck out to me was, now I'm going to forget the name of it. What was it called? Divvy, DIVVY. Did you get a chance to look into that? Yeah. So there's a company called Divvy Homes, DIVVY Homes. And what they're doing is, as long as it meets their criteria, and you have to go in like, not everything will meet the criteria. They don't do condos. They don't do attached wall homes. You have to have a driveway. It can't be over 2 acres. It's got to be at
what
least
is
2 bedrooms.
Who cares about the little stuff? What is it?
Well, they thanks. I appreciate that, guys.
Yeah.
What they do is they will go in and put a bid in on a house for you. Like they become the buyer, and you pay them 1 to 2 points depending on the house. They buy the house for you, and then 1 or 2%. They buy the house for you and then rent it back to you for a certain amount. So they're going to make money on it, but they also take some of that money and put it into an account for you to have a down payment. So the idea of Divvy is that they want you to be able to buy the house back from them in 3 to 5 years.
The
It's
gross
essentially
part
a rent
about
to own
this,
program.
yeah, the gross part about this though is that if you use a first-time homebuyer program, you really only need about 1%, maybe 2, to move
Right,
into a
right.
house, and then the down payment
But
assistance program will use all the rest of the money that you need. And quite frankly, what this program is charging you is 1 to 2% upfront, right? And
upfront,
then they're going to probably overcharge you every payment because every payment you make, 25% of it's being saved, which you could do
right,
yourself, right?
correct.
And then they're going to have you go out and get a bank loan to pay off this new rental property that they've acquired that they're receiving rent from you, right? Bank. And I mean, okay, it's one way of oh, my payment's due. I guess I have to pay it, right? If you're that kind of person, then this might work. But if you get a little discipline, you could do the same thing and save a lot of money. In
You
fact, you wouldn't even
can,
have to
but
wait 3 years saving up your money. You could just use the 2% and move in right now.
but
By
now
the
I'm going
way,
to
you don't have
challenge
to be a
you on
first-time
something.
home buyer to get free money. You
Right.
just have to be under a certain amount of income.
But now I'm going to challenge you on something though,
Yeah, do it.
because you and I've had the conversation that when you start looking at DTIs and stuff like that, when you use these programs, it limits what you can buy versus if you were to do a conventional loan or just an FHA without a first time home buyer grant or DPA program. So what's the better play if you're going to spend 1 or 2% of your own money anyway? Is it better to get the house that you really want and not be limited by the down payment assistance programs and what they do to your DTI and lower your availability to qualify? Or is it to
So
go the other way? And it's it's a question for you, just my challenge to you.
not so much that they lower your debt to income ratio. They used to have all sorts of restrictions, and the problems, and they still do, right? The problem with these programs is there's no one size fits all. Even
Yeah.
even some of these programs define first time home buyer differently. I've seen them define it as 3 years, 1 year, 5 years, 2 years of not owning a home, and everywhere in between. I mean, so it's there's no standard definition for that either. Um,
Right.
and so I hear what you're saying, but when it comes down to it, there's like, gosh, what are there in the Travis and Williamson County areas? I think there's 4 or 5 right now that I know of right off the top of my head that I could list off, right?
Mhm.
That for down payment assistance programs, right? There's a couple different Seth programs. Um, long story short is that you'd have some options, and not all of them come with the same restrictions. Each one comes with a certain set of restrictions, but none of them are always the same, right? And so that's a very difficult question for me to answer. I guess what I
I
don't like about this company is that to me, it sounds like it's preying on renters, on the less educated renters out there. And the only way
Oh,
that this
that's an
company's
interesting thing.
yeah, and the only way this company is going to make money is if you don't buy the house, and they get to then resell the home after you've been living in it 3 years, and it's appreciated over the last 3 years.
Look, that's a legit comment because being 100% honest, that's the reason that rent to own, lease to own, rent to own, whatever it is, that's the reason it's been in effect forever. I mean, I've talked to investors who have sold the same house 4 and 5 times,
Right, me
and
too.
every
I've seen it
time
myself.
they get points up front, they
Yeah,
get
5% last guy I talked
rent
to.
above and beyond, and then the people either it can't they can't afford it when it's time to balloon out, pay their balloon off and get their own mortgage, or they simply don't want to. And so from that perspective, and this is why I don't, yeah, I do. I'm not gonna, I steer my clients away from rent to own because I know that fact. And so this company's doing that at a larger scale. It's essentially a real estate investment trust that's using their money to do rent to own,
Right. Let me ask you,
exactly like you talk. So yeah, it's a concern. Absolutely.
what's the difference between rent to own and a mortgage?
A mortgage requires you to have a standing of some type of fiscal responsibility, where a rent to own you really don't.
So in other words, it's harder to qualify for a mortgage, but they're basically the exact same thing. Is that what you're telling me?
Exactly, exactly.
Right.
Now, rent to own is going to cost you more in the long run.
Right, because you're preying on the poor, and I would say the weak, because it just makes sense in that sentence. But you're preying on
Yeah.
people that are not willing to wait. right?
You
Or
you're
unable to.
and you know what? From that perspective, I would say yes, you're preying on the weak, the people who can't, who can't set a budget and stick to it and save
I
money
hate them.
because of a
I can't
dream that
stand it.
they have.
I can't stand it.
Yeah,
And that's why,
that's
honestly,
fine.
man, it's in the 3D printed houses that they're making for 35 grand, right? Um, why? Why don't we? Come on, companies out there, can you chime in, please? We need some comments on here. Why aren't you building 3D printed homes? Last I heard, they were cheap and easy to make. P.S. They'd be
Until
made of
your
all
headquarters
concrete.
burns down.
Say again? Yeah, no, touche.
Until your
Yeah, I hope
headquarters
that
in
wasn't
Austin
corporate
burns down.
espionage, right? My lord. Um, anyways, but I honestly, I mean, maybe it was right. Like at this point, there's at least motive because I mean, if you're gonna make $35,000, let's call them $70,000 homes. Shoot, double it
Yeah,
up. I don't care. What's the average right now? 400, 500, something like that around here.
in Austin,
Um,
yeah.
I mean, come on now. So actually, what is the average in Austin? I don't know what the average is.
It's over 500,000.
Oh, I
In
thought it was more.
fact, I think the average is closer to 650 or 7.
Okay,
But
so
it's the
then give
difference
me a
between
few
average and mean and all that other stuff.
$70,000 tornado proof, at least to a certain, EF factor, right? Because it's all concrete, houses, and throw all the musicians in there and everybody else that needs a place, and let's, you know what I mean? Like, my lord, man, I don't know why we're not doing that. You do a couple, and you know what's even the worst thing about that? Let's just say we did this. Okay, I know I'm going with my own little story here on my own little ranch, but let's just say we built a bunch of $70,000 homes. Do you realize I wouldn't be able to fund them?
No, of course you wouldn't because
The
they don't fit in the
government
box.
states, well, no, the government says even if they were traditional homes, but for 70,000, the government says I
Okay.
can't make more than a certain percentage. It's right around 3%, okay, on a loan. And there are certain fees that it also says we are not allowed by law to change ever. You can't change them. Heaven forbid the next person that comes in looks different than the last person. You're not going
So
to change the fees. Everyone gets charged the same. Okay.
the
Well, if my
mandatory
fees
fees
are set
push
in
it up over
stone,
3%.
it's a good idea on paper, but then in reality, because you're protecting people, right? Which is good. But in reality, what you're doing is, like for me, I get paid, I think it's like $1,680. Okay, well, if you're doing $100,000 loan, that right off the bat is 1.6, almost 1.7%. If I can't exceed 3%, what if the title company has set fees, right? We know there are
Yeah.
certain set fees. What if anyways, the long story short is that after a certain point, we're not allowed to say that we can't do the loans, but the government will tell me I can't do the loan, right? And then it'll
Right.
tell me I have to do the loan, but I can't do the loan. And it's this horrible catch-22. So even if cheap loans came back, I don't think any lender would really be able to do them. As crazy as that sounds.
But you know what? All the more onus for a company to build cheap 3D houses, sell them as owner finance.
I mean, just talk about a system that's designed to not go in reverse.
Well, but look, let's let's just be honest. I mean, the most terrifying words ever that a person can hear is "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
I
I
believe that's
mean,
a
we
Ronald
know
Reagan
that.
quote.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, think about it. Like the free market has produced a product that you as a homeowner can buy for $70,000, but you can't get a
I don't know.
mortgage on it.
I prefer clients on both sides of the aisle, so I'm not going to reply to that comment. However, I will
No,
state
I didn't mean that to be a
I'm just
politically
joking.
aligned
You're a good man. You're
comment.
a good man. No, but at the end of the day, I don't think there's a single example of a government that's done a really good job, all the time, right?
Oh
In
no,
fact, they're
no,
like the easiest thing to make fun of. So, plus I can't control them,
yeah.
so I choose not to participate. To be blunt. Um,
I'd rather control them, but look, I'll be honest. Even if I was in politics, I mean, I would screw stuff up. So whatever. I
I just
find that
read.
hard to believe, but I'm
I,
sure I would.
I just read this one guy. But again, I don't want to get into it. But yeah, no, this is not a fair world out there. So I don't want to play.
No,
Um, so how are your sales coming along? Are you seeing the real estate market pick up at all? Is it back to normal? Is it still terrible?
it's flat. It's flat. But I'm glad you brought that up because we've got about 10 minutes, and I want to kind of shift gears a little bit. Um, I had a client. I had a client send me an article from I don't know if it's Austin Business Journal or if it's the Austin Business Journal, and I had NBC article or CNBC article sent to me as well. And you and I have been beating the drum for a long time now that Austin is not going to see this huge housing bubble burst that everybody else may see, that we're going to end up in a housing shortage. I've been over it. If people have paid attention to my videos on YouTube and stuff, they're out there because of what the analysts are telling me. And I'm going to try to pull a couple of these up. Let me see if I can figure this out. And we're just going to chat about them because we can. Where's my share? There we go. Okay, so you should be. Can you see this Austin Business Journal?
Yes. No.
Okay.
Yes.
You can't. Can you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Wall Street Journal, Austin has the second hottest jobs market. Okay. The only other city with a hotter jobs market is Nashville.
We have so many tech jobs. I didn't see that coming this month.
Well, and that's what they said. Despite loud layoffs by major tech companies that call Austin home, the area is still ripe for job seekers, even those within the tech sector. We're not seeing a lot of pain in Austin. This is what Austin Technology Council said, which, I mean, they've got a vested interest, but I don't expect them to be lying flat out. Wall Street Journal study done with Moody Analytics looked at unemployment rate, labor force participation, changes in unemployment level, size of labor force, and wages in 2022 in about 380 different metro areas. And Austin is, where was my number? Austin's number 2. So again, you and I've talked about it. Like, if people lose their jobs here, there's so many other tech companies that are here. It's kind of like they go directly to that, to that other tech company.
Sure.
And I'm going to see if I can shift over to this other one. Where is it? It's here. I'm going to move it here. Oh, no, that was it. Okay, so it's the Wall Street Journal one. And again, it's a similar story. Best cities. Oh, you see it? Number one place to buy a home if you want to increase your value. Now, there's an issue with some of this data, but the number one place, according to the CNBC, is Austin, Texas. Now, I'm going to tell you what the issue with this data is. Okay. This is a measurement of percent change in home prices since 1998. All right. So they're not necessarily forecasting forward, but this is a historical thing since 98. Okay. So that's the issue with it. But still, look, CNBC is not some hack website out here trying to draw clicks, right?
Well, they're all trying to draw clicks, but I hear what you're saying.
Well, I mean, yeah, look, it's not Joe sitting in his basement is what I'm trying to say.
But no, I hear you loud and clear. And, I think we knew that. I think
we did. Absolutely.
It's not a big surprise. It's great to see, great to hear. But, Austin is booming and it will continue to boom even for the next decade, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I go back. That's what your question triggered for me is, well, what's going on in housing? Well, right now it's a little bit stale, but anybody that will listen, I'm begging them, like, do it now.
Yeah.
Because of stuff like that. That's the stuff that's off the radar that most people aren't seeing because it doesn't generate giant headlines.
Yeah.
But it's the stuff that's actually going to matter at the end of this year and at the end of next year.
Yep. What's happening right now is that you can actually buy a house.
Exactly.
And for years
because
now,
there's inventory.
Yeah. For years now, you had to jump in the ring with, 10, 20 other people and pay extra, et cetera. And all of a sudden now you've got your pick of the litter. Maybe not 100% like that, but it's a lot better than it was. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, again, when your inventory is so low that every house that hits the market is generating 10 offers, or, in the future, when you have, potentially housing shortage because all the builders have stopped building because they're terrified of the market and they have no idea what they're doing. And they have shown that for the last 50 years. Yeah. Right now is the time that you can buy a house and you can go out and shop and you can negotiate and you can get the owner to pay for stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I don't want to send clients away or anything, but I mean, the builders right now, and I know I've been talking about them for months, but my
Yeah.
God, the deals the builders are giving away. Um, ooh, I
And it's
mean,
still
I can't.
happening. And if a builder tells you that their incentives are gone, they're lying to you.
I
Sorry.
don't know how they would do that or why they would do that, but yeah, no,
I don't either.
I'll tell you, they've been mopping the floor with me, like 20 grand more than I could offer on my wildest day out. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
absolutely unreal how much money they're offering to new buyers. So if you're a new buyer and you're worried about the rate, they've also thought of that too. A lot of these new builders have big blocks of rates, old rates. What does that mean? That means they have money to lend at lower rates. That's what it means.
Yeah.
So
The last ones I saw were 5.25.
yeah,
They're
4.9
offering
last
5.25.
month.
I haven't seen 4.9 in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, I said last month.
So I
Yeah,
think
so
some
yeah,
of that
right.
has been used. Yeah, I think that stuff's been
So
used
that's
up.
all gone.
Now they're
All right,
like the
fine.
next tranche. Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's if I were going to do it
It's
right
a
now,
hell of a
I'd go
lot
to a new
better than
builder.
6.25. I
Yeah,
would too.
yeah. I mean, a 5%. I was giving that away 2 years ago for people that were at the lower credit end, right? When everybody else was talking
Yeah.
about threes, it was okay. That was the going rate,
Yeah.
So
Well, and I
it's
mean, and you said you would go to a new builder, and I would go to a new builder. I would be very
yeah,
strategic in that. I would go to a new builder that has a very new subdivision, and I would let the build, because again, I know that we're going to have a shortage of houses.
right,
And I know that next year when the builders start building again, they're going to run the prices up just like they did the last 3 years. I'd go try
right.
to find me a neighborhood that's probably less than 30% built out. Get me a screaming deal now. Wait around for 3 years. Let's go.
Yeah, that's a really great strategy, by the way.
I, or I would utilize your other product and go find me a duplex. Same
Yeah,
thing. Find it, because there's builders that are building new build duplexes right now.
wouldn't that be
I don't
great?
think there's any more available in Bastrop, but I think I've seen them recently in San Marcos and New Braunfels. Go for it.
Yeah, if you're young, that's the way to do it. Do a duplex.
Yeah. Or old. I mean, think
Well,
about somebody that's an empty nester, and that's not old. I mean, you could be an empty
I
nester
didn't
at
mean to
50.
say if you're young. If you're any age, you could certainly do a duplex. I just think back to, man, if I were 20 again and I had bought one duplex a year for
Oh
10
God,
years, at
dude.
30, you've got 20 rental streams coming. You don't need to work again. Travel the
And you
world.
always wonder,
Unreal.
yeah, like people say, well, what would you do if you could do it all over again? I would start out buying duplexes as a young man.
Yes.
I
Yes. Yeah.
100% I would do it. I had no
No
idea
age
back then.
restrictions. Thank you for telling me that or saying that it's one of the things you can't discriminate against in lending and
No,
most things
no,
is age.
you
And we certainly
and you
don't, but
weren't
I didn't mean to say it the way it
discriminating.
came out. Yeah.
The
Mhm.
the way you were saying it, and I understand, you were saying it to mean if you had a lot of
Yeah.
time left.
Yeah. If
But
I could
even,
go
I mean,
back in
even
time and
now,
then do things, yeah, that's
yeah.
precisely.
But even now, and I'm going to beat this point home a little bit. I mean, think about empty nesters. A lot of times they want to downsize, and so why would
Yeah.
they do anything? Y'all see the back of Najee's head? See her? There's her head.
Hello.
Look, at least give me a face. Look, at least give me a face. Hi. I mean, somebody that's downsizing, empty nester. Think about somebody that wants to travel in their RV.
Sure.
Okay. And I've got hands going up in the audience over here. Think about somebody that wants to travel in their RV. Why not buy a duplex, put renters in one side to help pay for the damn thing? And if you're gone for 8 months of the year traveling in your RV, who cares? Because half your mortgage or 3/4 of your mortgage is getting paid by somebody else. I mean, it's a lock and leave lifestyle. You've also got on-site security. It's called your renters.
Right.
I mean, that's a freaking great
Yeah.
way to do it.
And you don't have to put 20% down. Now you do have to live in the home. And if you're going to move away for 8 months of the year, then we are not talking about a
No,
primary
no, no,
residence.
no. It is a primary residence, and you will file for a homestead exemption with the county, proving that it's a primary residence. Just because you're on vacation for an extended period of time in an RV doesn't change your residence status. I'll argue that till the day
Yeah.
I die.
Yeah, depending on when you take ownership of the home. You have to move in
Eh,
a certain amount of
you have to
days.
move
You have
in.
to live there
Yeah.
doesn't Texas have a requirement that you have to live there a certain number of days throughout the year?
It's gray.
We're gonna agree to disagree on this one. Okay, we'll look up the rules
It is
later.
not mortgage
Figure it out.
fraud unless it's mortgage fraud.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna be very, very conservative on this one, and just say that I'm not so sure that is correct. That's what I'm going to do for now.
Let's just say that you will live there the required number of days plus one.
Yes, you will. If we're going to do it as your own mortgage, as a primary residence.
And here's our other lender, Trent. Just keep the details to yourself on that one.
Yeah, Trent thinks we should stop too. I think Trent, you sound like a smart man.
You will live there the required days plus one. That's what's required by
even
law.
Safer, Chris. I like that even more. That's good.
Plus one.
That's
just so there's
now you
no
can listen
discrepancy.
to Chris. Now you can listen to Chris.
Just so there's no discrepancy. Just
great stuff.
All right, man. Brother, we've been on 30 minutes. Hey, how are you, Toby?
Hey, you want to see what shirt I have on today?
I would love to see it. Okay. It's okay.
This is what all clients should know.
It's
okay.
It's okay. And by the way, if you, because I don't travel up to North Austin all that much, so that Lago Vista, Cedar Park, Leander, Georgetown area, Toby is a badass realtor as well. There she is. That's who you want to call.
Thanks, Chris.
Easy enough. Let's end it off. Now we're going to have to get Toby on the show.
That'd be awesome. That'd be fun. She's good. Good. We could tell you about the God coin flip I had this week.
The God coin.
I spent 2 months working with a client, answering their calls after hours on the weekends. And all of a sudden, they're under contract. Great. Let's go. Let's do this together. Great. And they said, well, we're shopping you now. I said, oh, okay, that's fine. And then my numbers weren't quite as good as the online lender they found. I went and I got the branch to say, okay, we'll match that cost, right? Which I'm allowed to do as a lender if they're shopping with, somebody else. And went back to them and they said, okay, well, we've got to flip. She says, I know it's going to sound ridiculous, but I've got to flip my God coin. I said, okay. And so I hear her flip this coin and she says, oh my goodness, look at that. I said, well, did I just lose to a gold coin? And she goes, no, not a gold coin, a God coin. And no, you got it. You got the deal. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. And then her husband yells at her, gets back on the phone the next day, tells me I didn't get the deal. But what I'm still stuck on, he does not want me to do the show. What I'm still stuck on is that my 2 months of work were always, which no one told me until the very end, but we're always depending on me winning this game of God luck chance at the end. Have you heard of anything like that before?
Personally, I think God puts people in our lives to help guide us through stuff. And and
then I won the coin toss and I thought, wow, I've been praying a lot recently. This is great. And then they said, well, sorry, we're really going to go with the other person after the coin toss. So I don't know, man. I've got mixed feelings on that one. But
what the hell?
Yeah. Either way, I'm still around to help them if they need help, and they're really great people, but it really, to be really blunt with you, that one just absolutely threw me for a loop. I did not see that coming. And that's down in my book of stories.
Are you writing a book of lender stories? You should be.
That was metaphorical. I should write a book of stories, shouldn't I?
You should. And what it reminded me of immediately was, I don't know if you've seen today, but Twitter has changed the little bird icon to the doggy coin icon. And doggy coin's value went up 30%.
It's called Doge coins. He calls it doggy coin.
I thought it was doggy coin. It's got a dog.
DOGE, right?
Yeah, doggy.
Doge.
Either way.
It does look like doggy though.
Yeah.
It does.
Anyway.
Either way, yeah. It's still, that coin, man. Thing is, now you have to sell it before it drops down again.
That's right. Get rid of it now.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is what we do on Mondays, guys. 5:00 every time. And if you're watching this, even if it's on YouTube or whatever, if you've got questions, thoughts, or you want to make fun of us, put them in the comments. We will definitely look at them. I've actually got to get on this guy to make him get on the comments later, because I've been trying to answer comments and I'm not all that great at it. So.
Can I do a shout out real fast?
Oh, absolutely.
Organically, I have had some people that I've worked with in the past ask me to coach them.
Nice.
And I'm loving it so much. I've majored in entrepreneurship, right? I've started 2 different companies. I've got a special needs child that I also have lots of patience with. You know who he is. He was just there. And so long story short is I'm doing coaching. $500 a month. If anybody wants to sign up with me, I have 18 spots left, and I'm going to start heavily advertising for them soon. So I'd love to help people that are watching the show. So give me a call.
And I can say this: he's patient. He deals with me.
How funny is that? Business coaching, sir. It's fun times.
See you next week, my friend.
See you soon.